Hi, everybody. It's episode 609 of PodQuest.
Hey.
It is Wednesday, April 15th, 2026. I am Chris. With me is Walnut.
Yep, I'm here.
Drew is off seeing music in a live fashion.
Yes. He's seeing music. He's got synesthesia.
The fourth time for the same concert in a week.
Is that true?
Ish, yeah.
That's a lot.
Might be third time. I forget if... So the Wonder Years, they are a hometown band. They are from Lansdale. And they're on tour right now. And they had Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and today. So they had 5 shows, I want to say. 5 or 6 shows sold out at the TLA. I think it was originally 4, and then they added 1 or 2 more because they sold out fucking immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Sundays, actually, I was looking because I wanted to go to Sunday because it was the opener on Sunday was Spanish Love Songs. The resale tickets were going for as high as $2,000.
Yeah.
For a TLA show, where the face value of the tickets were like $55.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're doing. I don't know if the Wonder Years is doing different set lists each night. It wouldn't surprise me if they do, because they do several times they do a holiday set of shows at the Fillmore, and they literally do a random assortment of stuff. They have planned songs, and then they spin a wheel and just play whatever the wheel tells them to play.
Mm-hmm.
But every night is a different set of openers. So the first night was the bands they're actually on tour with, and then every other night's been different bands. And I know Drew at least went Sunday, and I want to say he probably went to the first night with Knuckle Puck, and then tonight is Origami Angel. So he got tickets for that one too.
Mm-hmm.
And they're probably not touring for a year and a half after this. So see them while you can.
Yeah, I guess. Look, I've said in the past with them, it blows my mind. I've seen the Foo Fighters twice in 2 years, and it was the same exact show. Maybe three times in 3 years, something like that. 2 or 3 times in a short amount of time, and it was the same exact show each time. I'm like, well, I honestly don't need to see them again. I've seen Coheed twice in my life, and they were different shows each time. They were well apart from each other. And I was like, this is great. I would love to see them again. But, I don't know. There's some bands, especially big bands, especially, big concerts like this, that I'm just like, I don't know. I would never be able to see the same band twice in the same tour, let alone through every time they played in a weekend. That's a lot. Not just talking money-wise, just talking, it is going to end up being, especially the main band. You're saying that they have a different opener each night, which is okay, it makes it a little different. But for the most part, it's going to be the same show every night.
But so and I understand what you mean, with the Foo Fighters. You're thinking of it more like those big bands. The Foo Fighters, Coheed, they put on big, frankly, choreographed is the only word I can think of to describe it. But they basically put on choreographed shows. They are scheduled and scripted, and yeah, there might be a little spontaneity in there, but they have a script to stick to get through it. They're saying the same thing every night between songs, the same anecdotes and stories. That's how they get everything done. When you go to shows at the TLA, that's not what they're doing, especially a band like the Wonder Years. They are going to change it up. Yes, they will probably play a lot of the same songs because they're going to be playing their hits, along with whatever new stuff they have. But they're going to make it feel like a different show each night as much as they can.
Yeah, it's just.
And Drew specifically, it was going he likes the Wonder Years. He was going for the Wonder Years.
Yeah.
I don't know that he would have done this for a different band, but he's going to the specific nights because he also wants to see those openers.
Yeah.
He didn't just go 4 nights because it's the Wonder Years. He wanted to see Spanish Love Songs. I think Oso Oso was the other one he went to. And Origami Angel are 3 bands he likes that are playing with another band he likes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, more power to you, kind of thing. If this is your thing, it's your thing. It's obviously his thing. I very much enjoy live music, but it's just especially if it's 3 different openers with the same headliner, 3 or 4 different openers with the same headliner each night for 4 nights. I'd have to. I wanted to see all four of the openers. I'd have to pick and choose because to
Which
me it would just like I went to Mayhem Fest. I think is what it was called. Taste of Chaos. One of them. It was one of the big metal band shows back when we were in high school or just out of high school. And Dragon Force played, and they were dual headlining Dragon Force and Killswitch. We left before Killswitch, and I to this day hate it. Hate the fact that we did that. I mean, it doesn't help that the entire fucking crowd fell on my ankles, and this is pre-ankle surgeries. So like I was just dead. But it's still like I missed out on that band. But like to buy tickets to only see one of the two bands, like I went and did when the Foo Fighters did their anniversary show in D.C. just after he broke his leg. That was one of the shows I saw of them. The people I went with, we got like a hotel room outside of DC and then went into DC for the show. The people I went with bought these tickets that were about 90 to $100 and only wanted to go see Foo Fighters. And it was pulling teeth like, "Hey, let's go, let's go. We bought these all day tickets. Well, Foo Fighters don't go on until 9 o'clock." I was, okay, the show started an hour before we got to DC, and there's other bands that'd be nice to go see. I didn't come here and pay $100 just to see Foo Fighter, or however much it was. I don't remember how much.
I mean, to
So
be
it's
fair,
just like,
it's also an unfortunate. Just you went with shitty people.
yeah,
Like they might not be shitty people, but like they were shitty people to go to a concert with.
yeah,
And I like just out of curiosity, like have you really been to like smaller concerts, like not like local stuff, like TLA, the Troc, like
yeah.
smaller venues like that, like 2,000-3,000 people max?
Not in like 15 years.
Okay. I honestly wasn't sure if like you really had it all because like just then like you've meant like I know you used to go to that thing down in Delaware, Firefly, and
Firefly, which is
you
just a big
mentioned
music
like
festival.
Taste of Chaos and like
Which I
Foo
mean,
Fighters and all that stuff. So
Taste of Chaos and Mayhem Fest. Those were both Taste of Chaos. One of them, I can't remember which one they were. I can't remember, but like they were both like one was just at the Electric Factory, the other one was at the SB Center in Camden or whatever it's called now. But it was still like it was indoors and it was a lot smaller. Like some of the bands were smaller bands and stuff like that, but it was just a bunch of different
but
metal
those are
bands.
still like much larger like productions, let's say, because there are so many bands.
Yeah.
When you go to like legit like smaller shows, like I went to the ska show, was it last year or the year before? I think it was last year. Suicide Machines were headlining, but there were like five other bands that played like before them. And like it was small, all the bands were friends, so it was just everyone was just kind of like on stage for each other the whole night. Like
Hmm.
they were either like on side stage, like singing along, or like coming out to play with them, sing with them. Like it was just like a fun atmosphere to be at, and you don't
Yeah.
get that at like frankly you don't get it at like the Electric Factory even. I don't like the Electric Factory. I think that's kind of actually a shitty venue.
It's not that great of a venue.
Of like the two bigger not arenas, I'd rather go to the Fillmore than the Electric Factory. But yeah, like Underground Arts or Union Transfer, the TLA, like all these venues in Philly, like those just tend to be more. They're more intimate shows for one. Like I got to see Green Day at the Tower Theater in like 2015 or something like that. 2016. It was right after Revolution Radio came out. They did like two back-to-back tours on that one. It was one like smaller, like couple thousand people venues, and then like the bigger like arena
Hmm.
tour. And like going to that and seeing them at like the Tower Theater on the floor was fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Whereas like I've seen Green Day I think like 10 times now. That was the smallest one. Like next to that, I think the next smallest one I ever saw them at was like the Liacouras Center, which is for anyone listening, it's where Temple University basketball is played. So like it's a indoor arena basically.
Yeah.
But and now they're playing stadiums. So like
Yeah.
the last time I saw them was at Citizens Bank Park, and that's a very different fucking experience.
Yeah. Like I would 100% much rather go see them at these smaller venues. Go see bands at these smaller venues. I don't know. I just like I said, it's part time, part just like part money, but part just like to sit there and like it's and again, I'm not trying to talk down on Drew seeing this, doing this, going there, but it's just like seeing two bands 4 nights in a row, and or seeing it over the course of 4 nights only five bands is just like that kind of, I don't know. It's just it's not where I pull interest in.
Yeah, which is totally fine. Like I tried to get tickets to multiple dates and they sold out too quick, and
Yeah,
as much as I wanted to go, I was not willing to pay the resale prices for them.
yeah.
Um
That's the other thing.
and like
It's
I
like,
think like tonight Drew actually got lucky. Like I looked, the resale tickets for tonight are like were super low. Like they were all under like $70.
mhm.
Which is great. The ones that I wanted to go to were the bigger bands, were the openers, so none of those prices came under like 150. And like I
Yeah.
said, like Sunday, like they had one person was selling a ticket for like 170, and then two other tickets were on sale for like $1,500 and $2,400
Mhm.
for like GA at the TLA.
Yeah.
Like, but enough about that. What is on the agenda?
On the agenda, so for my brother's 40th birthday party, I went and we did some mall rat shit up at the American Dream Mall up in North Jersey. Then Cobb, you read the Venom comic series between 2021 and 2024. And then I finally finished reading the book I've been reading since February called Maya, book one, Seed Takes Root. So we'll talk about that as well.
Cool. I don't know. I have no idea what the American Dream Mall is.
So, all right. So the American Dream Mall is up in North Jersey. It's right outside of Meadowlands Stadium, and it's in that general complex area. You can actually, if you were to go to like medieval times up there, you can see the mall from medieval times. Basically, it is a huge mall. It's got a giant Ferris wheel. It's got an indoor amusement park, indoor water park, like Nickelodeon and Nickelodeon themed amusement park, and Kung Fu Panda. What is that? Who makes that? Illumination?
DreamWorks, I believe.
DreamWorks. And like kind of DreamWorks based water park in there that we didn't really go check out, but it's just like this huge mall up in North Jersey that like initially when my brother was talking about it, they have this thing called the Great Big Game Show. It's pretty much essentially like instead of going to say a an escape room, you can go do this thing and you do different game shows. And it's like a bunch of little mini games, or you play a game show with your family and friends, whoever you go up with. And so it's like different games that different little mini games you can do. And it's just a really cool idea. However, like, we went up with 7 people and they paired us with another family, and we were not expecting that. And we also feel very bad because we demolished that other family because it was a family of children. 3 kids and two adults, and then there was us where it was uh five adults or 4 adults, 2 kids, and then my mom got stuck on the other team because it was uneven. And so like it's a cool thing that they have up there to do. It was really fun. I just like I wish they would have like set us up just by ourselves. We booked a 1 o'clock time. We pre-booked a 1 o'clock time. It should have been like it should be something that you can do by yourself and not have to do with other people. And it was very awkward the fact that we're a bunch of adults doing a kid thing with a couple of kids, and we outscored them by before the final round by at least 6,000 points.
Jesus.
Yeah. There was one of the little mini games we had was like a tower building thing where you had to put together a bunch of foam uh shapes to build a tower, and whoever's tower is taller wins. And like I see the shapes and we set them all up, and I start building it, and I start building it in a way that no one ever thought to build it. And we get it, and it's taller than the tallest one of us. And these kids barely have it up a foot. And he's like, "All right, 1,000 points for the blue team," and I'm like, "Oh, that was worth 1,000 points." Each question last round was only worth 250. I was not expecting it to be worth that much. And it was weird because we were playing against kids mostly. Like we were playing against a family we don't know, mostly kids. They were getting upset because they were losing. We were just kind of there to have
Well,
fun.
those kids should have been better.
The questions weren't they weren't good questions for kids, and they weren't good challenges for kids to go up against adults, essentially. And it was very awkward. It was a really cool experience, and I would like to do it again, but if I were to do it again, I would want at least 10 friends to come with us
Good
to
luck.
split the teams 5 by 5 and have our own room to ourselves. I would not want to play against other people because it was just a weird call, and it's just kind of like it was weird. But like some of the mini games were really cool. So um they had one of them was a trivia mini game where you get three poker chips, and you can there's three answers, and you can either put one poker chip on each answer and just just get a correct answer, or the more chips you have on a specific answer, the more points you get. So which was it was a really cool one. There was the tower building one. We didn't really get a lot of trivia. There was one where it was like percentages, rangefinders is what it was called, where it's percentage, and so you have to hit the button based on the potential percentage of the trivia. Then there was just spinning the big wheel. You don't actually. It was basically kind of Wheel of Fortune. You spin the big wheel, or no, you roll the dice. This one you roll the die, um, and you just try to guess the word. You don't spin the wheel. And then there's spinning the wheel where you just spin it. You don't do any sort of trivia with that as well. And then the final game we played was basically like Plinko, where you drop tokens down and it hits back and forth. If you've ever watched The Price is Right, you should know what Plinko is. Like it was cool. I liked it, but I just like I would want a room to myself. I wouldn't want to share a room with people I don't know unless those people are similarly aged adults.
That's fair.
Uh,
Yeah, it does seem a little weird to like pair up a group of 7 with mostly adults with a group of
yeah.
4 that were half children.
I mean like on the in their defense, I guess they didn't know the ages of us that were a group of 7, but like you'd think a group of 7 should just get their own room, but I think maybe the group the family that we played against, they might have just walked up and showed up to do it. I don't know if they like pre-booked it or anything. So maybe they were just like, all right, we have a 1 o'clock. We'll set them up with the 1 o'clock or something.
And
Because
like
had five, and
they probably needed more than just the 2 people or the 4
you
people.
you probably they had 5, and so you need probably minimum 6 to have 2 teams of 3. I'm sure. Um, but yeah, other than that, there's a bunch in that mall. There's like 3. Well, there's 2 food courts. One food court is 2 floors, and then another food court is just off to the end. It's just another one. You know the store It's Sugar, which is just a big candy store. There's one down in Atlantic City. It's
Actually,
like
no,
a
I've never heard of
chain.
that before.
Yeah, I don't know where the next closest one besides Atlantic City is, but they have one. It's 3 floors tall. Um,
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's a giant candy store. There's a couple of like there was like one Japanese like lifestyles type store like with anime figures and things like that, which it's just like it was overpriced. I didn't buy anything there.
That stuff always is.
Um, a bunch of there weren't many stores that were just like, oh, I have to go in and look. It was just kind of it was mall, but like it wasn't very special mall, and like it would be nice to like hang out there a bit one day, like before going to if like you're taking a date if you're taking like a weekend up to New York or something like that, maybe take the day, go up to the mall and hang out there, and then go to New York the next day and whatnot. Like that would be nice, but like it's a day trip for sure, just because it's pretty far out there. Um, but yeah, there's just I don't know. It was a little lackluster for an adult. Maybe if you have a family, you can go to the Nickelodeon or to the Nickelodeon indoor theme park or to the water park and stuff. There's the Ferris wheel was $25 a person, which is just like that's insane. And then for someone like me who can't eat anything, there was next to nothing for me to eat.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, like there were like I at one point I was getting very hangry. Um, we had gotten done the game show thing at 2, and we went and walked towards like the food court. It's 2 o'clock, and we're near the food court, and I'm getting very hangry. Like I'm getting like I need to eat something now. I haven't eaten since breakfast at 9. Um, and I just like there was nothing that I could like. I could go to I could stand and wait in line for a box of popcorn, or I could stand and wait in line for French fries. But like, there's no like gluten-free pretzels, which like I'm not expecting gluten-free pretzels, pretty much because no one has them besides around here. But like, there was nowhere that like really offered any sort of gluten-free snacks besides fries. And even at 2 o'clock, that food court was so fucking busy that like it wasn't worth waiting in that line. Um,
which sucks.
and at that point, we had been there uh since 11 o'clock when they opened. My parents, and my sister. We'd been there since 11 o'clock. It's now 2, and we had walked around the mall twice at this point. Even though it's very big, it's like it wasn't too hard to get around the mall. It's a nice big rectangle, but it's just like for me, like I was getting so hungry, and there weren't even many stores that you could just like. Sometimes there's like those newsstand stores that you can just go in, grab a bag of chips or whatever. I think there was one of those at one point, but it was right outside the food court. And I'm like, well, I'll just grab something at the food court. There wasn't really much at the food court. There's a whole ice skating rink. There's an aquarium. It's a really cool place. It's just there's also just not a lot to do there. Even though there's a ton to do,
Yeah,
there's
it's
not
a
a lot
mall
to.
either way.
Yeah. There is a Bandai Namco store, which is really cool. I bought a couple of Pokemon models to build while I was there, and they weren't too.
Nice.
It was. I got myself a Gyarados, which was I think $18, and the Pikachu was only 10, or the Mimikyu was only 10. So like that was fairly
Wow.
priced. Like
Wow,
that
you
was.
just confused a Pikachu and a Mimikyu? That's
Look,
fucked.
I know. I'm mad at myself. But and then there was like some Godzilla figures that ended up being like fucking $30. And I'm like, shit, man. It's either buy these two models or one of these Godzilla figures. And I was like, let's buy the two models. But yeah, it was there was a card shop there, but it was just like mostly slated cards and loose cards. There weren't like a lot of actual like packs and booster packs to buy. They had some in the back, but card scalpers would buy that shit right away. I think it was relatively decently priced. But yeah, it's a big mall. It's a nice day trip. But like I would suggest if you're gonna go, you go between like 11 and 1 and walk around. And then if you have anything after, you do your thing and then you leave. Because it just gets so busy. And we went on a Saturday though.
Which is
Maybe
going to
like
be the busiest.
yeah, so like maybe if we went on like a Friday or a Monday or like a Wednesday or something, it'd be a little bit less crazy. There's even like a whole indoor mini golf course, which I was a little let down at the fact that like you can look down into the mini golf course and look below it and like kind of watch it, but you can't watch it from around. The way it's positioned, you can't actually look at it from the side on the floor that it's on. You can only look down upon it, and I was just like, that's kind of dumb. An arcade we didn't really get to go into, but it was like yeah, it was fun. It was a fun day. But yeah, it's just like it was at the end of the day, like with how many shops there were, it was a little disappointing as to like how few shops there were that I wanted to actually go into. Um, and then it was funny. There was this one shop that had like a couple of like metal sculptures and stuff that they built, and like a bunch of stones and amethyst rocks and stuff. One of the rocks was on sale 80% off for $1,500.
Jesus.
Yeah, 80% off for $1,500. You know that's not fucking real. That's what it's actually worth is $1,500, but they're trying to sell you on it saying it's cheaper by putting it on sale. But yeah,
That's still
it was
insane.
crazy. Yeah. So like yeah, the Great Big Game Show, that was a fun experience. Just wish it was just only with my family. The whole rest of the mall, it was a mall. Yeah, unfortunately, like it was like a big deal at one point. It seemed like a big deal. Seems like a cool thing, but at the end of the day, it just does just end up becoming a mall. Um, and like the food courts are fine. There's a couple, like the one food court is basically a bunch of restaurants, like actual restaurants. They like you
Okay.
go sit down in, but you can take food from one to the other and stuff. But yeah, it's just there wasn't a lot. We had barbecue. And I was like, that's the closest to maybe what I can eat, and still eating barbecue is a bit of a risk, depending on what they do with the barbecue sauce.
Really?
Yeah, it could have barley in it. It could have yeah, barley basically in it.
I didn't realize
So
barbecue sauce potentially had that stuff in there.
Yep. It depends. It's well. What it is malt. So usually malt is made from barley, and if it has malt in the barbecue sauce and in the sauces, then I can't have it.
That's a bummer. Yeah, I did not
Yeah,
realize that.
yeah. The things you learn when you have what's it called, food allergy or food, you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's but yeah. So it was cool. It was a nice experience, but it was my brother's 40th birthday, and we mall ratted it, and I just thought it was funny. Even like the Lego store was very lackluster with their stock. There just wasn't a lot in the Lego store. The only thing that was there that I wanted, and of course it's Lego, so it's like I think this thing was like $300, was the Great Deku Tree.
Let's see how much the Great Deku Tree is.
Yeah, I don't know how much it actually was, but I know it's a lot of money. I think it was like $160, $200, something like that.
$299.
There you go. So 300. And it was fairly priced at the mall, which means I think it was about 300, maybe just a little bit more.
Well, I think actually the Lego stores all actually sell the stuff at like their retail costs.
Yeah, probably. I think so. They're supposed to at least. But yeah, so I almost bought that. Fun side story. I took off on Monday from work, had lunch with my parents, and then I went to Costco with them, and I almost bought myself a Switch 2 while I was there at Costco, but they were only selling the Switch 2 with an SD card and a controller for, I think it might have been an extra controller, I'm not entirely sure, for just under $600. It wasn't the bundle with the game. If it was bundled with Mario Kart, I would have bought it, but it wasn't bundled with Mario Kart, so I didn't get it.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the Deku Tree still thing still. Did you know it was a 2-in-1? It's both the Ocarina of Time and Breath of the Wild Deku Tree.
I didn't. No. I don't even remember the Deku Tree being in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, it's where you get the sword, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, I guess you do like stand right in front of a tree in Breath of the Wild while you're pulling the sword out of the ground.
Oh yeah, because there's the little Deku dude who gives you like extra stuff when you find the Kuroks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, I would like it. I'd like to get it, but not today.
No,
It's just too much.
plus then you have to find a place to put it.
Yeah. I'd have to find time to build it too.
Now you just do that on stream.
I mean, I thought about it, but I did that once with my my Batman Adam West mask, and I didn't really get a lot of people to come to that stream. But I thought about it. I could do a crafting stream and do my 2 models. I also have a Mando mask I could put together as well on a live stream. Just yeah, not right now.
Fair.
We'll see. But yeah, so how's the Venom books?
Not very good.
No?
No.
Why not?
Yeah, so I caught up. So it's the Al Ewing Ram V run that picked up after the Donny Cates run that did like the whole King in Black and all that stuff. I had started it like 2 years ago, and then like I took that like year off of just not reading comics. So I jumped back in over the last week, and I read like the last 20 issues or so of that run, like from like issue 17 or 18 to like 39, so like maybe 21, 22 issues. And man, that it was just not good. So they did a lot of stuff that could have potentially been interesting in it, but I think Marvel also just went way too hard with Venom for way too long. For the last like 10 years, they've just been pushing Venom and Carnage, for that matter, in just some of the worst ways. Like, it seems like every other year there's a new Venom or Carnage event happening. And so this run coincided with Venom War, which was the culmination of this honestly lackluster run where Eddie Brock is no longer just Venom. He is now the King in Black. So he is like the god of all symbiotes. And he is trying to basically use them as like a force for good. But in the beginning of the run, something goes wrong. He kind of gets murdered, but like at the same time, he just kind of gets disintegrated from the timeline and ends up at like the end of time in this weird pocket dimension that is just different versions of him in like different, I guess, I don't even know the right way to put it. It's basically like versions of him throughout history past where like we've seen him in the comics. So it's like him with different symbiotes and then him as like basically like what the King in Black would be at the end, like kind of like an all-powerful like human symbiote hybrid. who is kind of the villain of the whole thing. But meanwhile, there's like a secondary story going on where his son Dylan is now using the Venom symbiote as like a hero. And like Venom is trying to protect him for Eddie. Because at this point, like Venom's not like an anti-hero the way he was for a long time anymore. He's much more of an actual heroic character. Can still be a little too aggressive at times, and obviously like he's still Venom, he still looks scary. But there was that whole run like 15 years ago where they made Flash Thompson Venom, and he was a legitimate hero, and then he was like in space being a space hero with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and like they kind of just made Venom not a creepy brain-eating monster. And at the same time, like they took Eddie on like a redemption arc through a lot of this too. And unfortunately, like this run was just so fucking boring. Like all of this like end of time stuff was just awful to read. It made zero sense. And then like near the end of it, they like ham-fisted Carnage into it again. And like Carnage is one of those characters where he's a fun, chaotic character to include once in a while. And when there's like a decade between Carnage showing up, he's an actual threat. Now he just shows up all the fucking time. Like every run of Venom, or Spider-Man for that matter, ends up putting Carnage into it. Mm-hmm. And it's just getting to the point where it's like, cool, this character is no longer interesting to read about. He's one note. We get it. He's crazy. He is the most villain. And then they did the classic Marvel thing of ruining the run more so than it already was by making a big event out of it. And I want to say Venom War had 5 issues that I didn't read because I just, again, like by the time I got to the Venom War, like I just wanted to get through the run to start the next volume because I was interested in seeing the next volume, which I'll get to in a minute. But the core Venom War story was like 5 issues, but all of the setup happened in like a regular Venom issue. And then the next 3 issues of Venom don't deal with it at all. They deal with like a side story with like a future version of Dylan and doesn't tie into the event at all. So I have no fucking clue how anything got wrapped up with these characters because of that. Because it, as much as like, and it's weird because it's one of those things where like I'd like to know how things happened because like Dylan was murdered and then Venom somehow resurrected him, but then Venom kind of like got depressed and like went on his own and like a bunch of weird shit happened, and I just have no idea how any of it got resolved because it wasn't worth adding another 5 books to a fucking boring run. And on top of that, there were probably 30 tie-ins that like weren't. They did the thing where like they weren't tie-ins where it was so like Spider-Man had tie-ins, but they didn't run it into like the main Spider-Man book. They just had like this separate Venom War Spider-Man title that had like 4 issues. So if you wanted to follow this whole event and get the whole story, you were buying like an extra like 40 books compared to what you would normally buy. And like that shit is just, it's stupid. I've always thought it was stupid. And in this case, it was even stupider. Because it's all, again, it's like the 5th Venom centric event in the last like 10 years, if that. And like, they're not good. They're never very good. King in Black was the closest thing to being good, and that one was more of a like a line-wide event, like your like Civil War and Avengers versus X-Men and shit like that, instead of just like the localized Venom stuff. But yeah, I read that because I was interested to see right before I had kind of like stopped reading for that break. They had launched the new volume, and it was called All New Venom. And they had been advertising it that it was a new host, but they weren't telling you who the host was. They were kind of doing like a Guess Who style thing for it, where they had a bunch of different people that could potentially be the host. So like Luke Cage was a suspect. Robbie Robertson, for some reason, was one of the suspects. Rick Jones, the former like sidekick of the Hulk, and a bunch of other characters was a suspect. And like I had it spoiled for me like a year ago, but like it turns out Mary Jane is actually the new Venom. And like this again, that book launched in like late 2024, so it's old news that like she is, I think, still currently Venom, maybe. But it's also weird because like she's also been her own hero for the last like handful of years. She has these weird like slot machine powers now. Like who's the fucking character from Final Fantasy? Kate Sith, right? Didn't Tifa. He have the slots was his limit break?
Oh yeah, Kaseth had the slots, and didn't Tifa have slots too?
No, Tifa was the hers were just straight, like they just did the moves. I think maybe in the
There's
remake.
somebody else who was
Oh,
punching that
it's
had
a
slots.
selfie in Final Fantasy
Yeah,
8, I believe, had like a slot mechanic too.
yeah.
But like basically her power was like slots, and like the better like roll she got on the slots, the cooler power she might get. So like if she got like 3 bars, she got something really shitty, like her bones turned to jelly.
Hmm.
If she got like 3 jackpots, she became like Omni Man or some shit.
Hmm.
But now she's also Venom. But like I only read the first issue of this run, so I'm not really sure how this goes. But like I also unfortunately didn't realize it was the same writer, which is it's a bummer because like for what it's worth, like Al Ewing, who wrote the majority of this Venom run, Ram V wrote some of it with him. Al Ewing is the guy who did Immortal Hulk like a handful of years ago, which is I don't know if you ever heard of that run, Rich. It's probably the best Hulk run in the last like 20 years
Hmm.
since like World War Hulk, Planet Hulk. It's the one where like Hulk he basically becomes immortal, like he can't be killed. But what's really happening is every time he gets murdered, he's just rejected from the afterlife and like resurrected. But it's like very gruesome and horror inspired, which was just really cool. And a bunch of other Hulk related characters kind of end up having similar things go wrong for them. And if I'm remembering correctly, Banner couldn't every night Banner turned into Hulk whether he wanted to or not. Like it was very much like a Hulk was just taking over. But it was like a great run. And then like for him to then go to Venom and like his Venom run was just shit. It's a bummer.
Hmm.
But I only read like I said, I only read the first issue of the all new Venom, but I'm curious to see if like maybe this one's a little bit better because he's not playing off of stuff that was set up by the team before him. Because
Yeah.
like unfortunately this run was very much like a product of the stuff that Cates and Stegman did with like the King in Black. And like that was like a really good run. And I feel like this one just it tried to like run off of that stuff and like follow up on it and it just fucking failed miserably.
Yeah, I mean
Uh,
that's always we've talked about this in the past a million times. Like that's always been my problem with things like Marvel comics and stuff. Is like they always try to do these big stories. They always try to do these big things, and like because of how often and how frequently they're changing writers and whatnot, it's just it's inconsistent.
yeah.
And
It,
it's like to dedicate like so much time to a book and it's really good and it's like any other media that you watch, then oh it's going to be bad for a while. Oh, it's been so bad that they're going to cancel it, so they're going to stop it, and then all right, let's bring it back now, and it's just
yeah.
too much. It's too much.
And that's one of
Um
the shitty things is
like
like Venom's popular enough that his books do just keep selling. And like I'm
yeah.
sure there are people out there that really enjoyed this stuff. I am just not remotely one of them. But like this keeps going, but then like other books that like I'm unfortunately like I'm drawing a blank on stuff right now. But like
Mhm.
there have been plenty of other like ongoing books that I would have loved to see continue. They got canceled because people just weren't buying them even though like arguably they were a better fucking book than this one. You know what?
Yeah.
West Coast Avengers from like 2019 or something like that was a significantly better run of any comic in probably the last like 5 years at Marvel,
Mhm.
and that book got canceled. But Venom just keeps happening and being
Yeah.
kind of shitty.
Yeah. And I looked it up. I asked Gemini. Um, according to Gemini, Venom War had 5 books. And then yes, Spider-Man Venom War Spider-Man had 4. Venom War Wolverine had 3. Venom War Deadpool had 3. Venom War Carnage had 3. Venom War Venomous, which I don't even know what that is, had 3. Venom War Zombiotes, which apparently is a new strain of Venom that can now bring people back from the dead, had 3. Then there's Venom War Lethal Protectors with 3. Then Daredevil and Fantastic Four each had a Venom War with 1 each. And then Venom itself had 35 to 39 as tie-ins. So that is, you're right, that is 30 something. They're over 30 books
Yep.
for Venom War. And that's just too much.
And like it
Mm.
it frankly it ruined the main book. Like again, like I hate to keep like being super negative on it, but like it was already not good. But if that main book would have at least finished its story in itself, I probably would have been like, okay, like that was satisfying. But instead they just they set everything up for Venom more. They leave a bunch of stuff on a cliffhanger, and then it's like, cool, if you want to see how any of this shit plays out, you have to go buy these 30 other books. Because
Yeah.
like the Venom resurrecting dead things, that happened in one of the Venoms leading into Venom War. He went there was a host between Flash Thompson and Eddie getting Venom back. There was like this like brief volume where Venom got picked up by like this mafia dude who was like just like an actual villain. And it was not a very good run, but they like killed that guy off, and Venom went back to Eddie after that, I want to say. But basically Venom went and like found that guy and ended up bonding to his like corpse after this weird alien brought his corpse back to life in a weird way. So like, yeah, that got set up in the main Venom book. Spider-Man, literally Venom after that goes to hide, and he goes to hide at Peter Parker's apartment because he knows that's one person that won't try to like use him, basically, because Pete doesn't trust him, and whenever there's a chance, he just tries to trap him, even though like Venom at this point has proved he's not a bad guy. And like, so that spins off into the Spider-Man books. There was, like you said, there was set up for like Fantastic Four and Wolverine and all this other shit.
Also, I missed one because Gemini didn't have it. There's a Jeff book.
Yeah, Jeff the Land Shark.
Yes.
And yeah, and instead it's just like, nope, you have to buy all of these side issues to see how these stories play out.
Yeah.
We're not going to tell you we're not even going to tell you in the main event book. Like, if everything had been contained in those 5 Venom War issues, I might have grabbed those. But they're not. So
yeah,
you
need to get you need to get the $100+ omnibus to know everything that happens in Venom War.
And you figure these books are absolutely not 22 pages each. They're probably range from 22 to like 40 times. Let's just do a conservative 30 issues. That's 660 pages to get the full story of like frankly a lackluster story to begin with.
Yeah.
And like there's even stuff like in one of the other like Venom tie-in event things that happened sometime around here, Black Widow got a symbiote. And like I didn't know that because I don't read any of these stupid fucking Venom side things because there's too many of them. It's kind of like Batman at this point. There's like or X-Men 5 years ago. Every other book is like a Venom book at a certain point. But yeah, like there was like 3 issues at one point where like Black Widow showed up with her own symbiote.
Yeah, I mean now I understand all the different Venom costumes in Marvel Rivals.
Oh yeah, because like you figure just Venom alone has had like so many different like styles.
No, I mean Jeff has a Venom costume, and Ben, the Thing has a Venom costume. Like from watching people play Marvel Rivals, now I understand where all these freaking Venom costumes come from.
Okay, sorry, I thought you meant just like in general, like yeah, because like there's Venom, and then there's like all the other offshoot symbiotes that like Venom spawned or that spawned from spawns of Venom, like. Yeah, there's a lot of symbiotes out there.
Yeah.
Technically, Spider-Gwen is a symbiote. Her suit is her universe's Venom symbiote. It's like a bunch of little spiders. It's weird.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
They need to just go back to the Spider-Verse stuff. Bring back Spiders, man.
Yeah, which is just a bunch of spiders, right?
It's a bunch of spiders that think they're a person. Or Peter Porker. He was a spider bit by a radioactive pig, turned into Spider-Ham.
I like that one, too.
Yeah. Some of that stuff's actually funny. But yeah, it's not a great volume of Venom. I'm hoping the all-new Venom is a little bit better. And I know that they did, like, I don't know if that book just ended and then they relaunched the other Venom, or if they're running concurrently. But they did pick Venom, just the Venom title, back up at legacy numbering, like around like 250 or something like that. And I know that's running right now. And I saw online, I guess a couple months ago, they killed off MJ's like husband that everyone hated.
Okay,
that was its own weird shit that Spider-Man did. Spider-Man's not allowed to be happy. Is the problem?
Yeah, of course. Spider-Man is the Ichigo of the Marvel universe. He's just always in despair and always sad.
Well, so legitimately, at one point in like the early mid 2000s, the editor-in-chief apparently had like the mandate that Spider-Man cannot be happy and cannot be in a successful relationship, essentially. That's why they did Brand New Day, to split him and Mary Jane up, because they had been like happily married for too long. Yeah. Apparently, I want to say that at that time, the only characters that were allowed to be married were Reed and Sue.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else, like, relationships could not be successful. And
It's just dumb.
so, yeah, so like in Spider-Man, they got him and Mary Jane back together for a while, and like that was going well, and then she got stuck in like an alternate, well, both of them got stuck in an alternate universe. Pete ended up getting pushed out of it, but the times ran differently. So by the time Pete got back to her, it had been like a couple weeks for him, but like a couple years for her.
Mm-hmm.
And she had like fallen in love with the guy that like rescued her. And so
Yeah.
he came back too, and they stayed together,
Mm-hmm.
which was just such a weirdly bad story.
Yeah.
Spider-Man also has been rough the last few years, really rough. But how's this Maya book? I feel like that's not the actual title. There's something else to it.
It's not. Before we get into that, something that I wanted to talk about and forgot to talk about in the pre-conversation before we got into everything. You don't really look at my Discord that often, but Sony will do everything but give us a PC port or remaster of Bloodborne. They are now having Jacksepticeye work on an animated movie for Bloodborne.
So I read something about Bloodborne recently. I think it was actually From Software that won't do it, not Sony.
I don't care. I'm still gonna say Sony because it's only ever been on the PlayStation. But yeah, they'll do everything but give us a Bloodborne port. But we're getting an animated series. I think from like the success of Iron Lung that Markiplier got, they're like trusting more like producers and production companies are trusting YouTubers to make some of this nerd content.
I have no
And
idea
so
what you're talking about there either.
So Iron Lung was one of the more successful indie developed movies in a long time. It is a video game movie created by Markiplier, who is also a YouTuber, which started with limited release, but then became a wide theatric release. And like at the time, like at the weekend that it was released, had like box office numbers that beat everything else that was in the box.
Interesting. I've never heard of Markiplier either.
Markiplier. What am I looking for? Iron Lung Profit. Iron Lung, a self-financed horror film. Markiplier became a major box office success, grossing over $50 million worldwide against a $3 million budget.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So yeah, he made Iron Lung. Basically grossed about he made friggin' $45 million, and like a lot of it, he's like he like I don't know. It was a success to where they're like, all right, maybe these YouTube creators know what they're talking about. I think, and so now Jacksepticeye, who's another YouTube creator and streamer and whatnot, he was asked to do the Bloodborne animated series or animated movie, and so it's like, you know what? Great, let the people who know these things make these things.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just was like, they'll give us everything but the port that we want. I just want to be able to play this on my PC so that I don't have to worry about the input lag of my capture card. That is it.
Get a better capture
That's all
card.
I want. That's really where we're at this point.
But yeah, I am pretty sure I read somewhere or heard on a podcast or something that it's actually From Software doesn't want to do the port.
Mm-hmm.
Which seems silly.
It does, because they've ported all of the Dark Souls games over to PC. And Sekiro had a PC release. I don't think Demon's Souls, the PS5 version.
No, because that is exclusive to PS5.
Yeah, that's correctly. PS5 exclusive. That didn't get a PC port, but yeah, they like everything else. Dark Souls is all on PC, all of them, all three. It's just and Sekiro, it's just, and obviously Elden Ring, but we won't get. They won't give us Bloodborne. They won't give us Demon's Souls.
Do you want to talk about Maya now?
Yeah, let's talk about Maya.
Is that the name of it?
The book is called Maya. Yes, it's book 1 of 3, and it's Seed Takes Root. It's Maya book 1, Seed Takes Root is the name of the book. It is written by Anand Gandhi and Zain Beman, who are both from India. It is a fantasy sci-fi, or honestly, probably it's not even fantasy. It is a sci-fi book, and less fantasy, more sci-fi. That takes place on the planet of Ne, where across the planet is this basically weave of roots and trees that the populace can connect into, and in connecting into it, they can store their memories and store themselves into it, as well as like they can feed off some of the energy from it and stuff. And it is actually mandated that you tap into it because the authorities themselves can use this to like peer into the near future and make sure, or even it's like kind of like surveillance system, like they can tap into it and see what happens, and the Maya tree itself can like make assumptions based on what it knows about where everyone was and what everyone's doing. So that's why everyone has to tap into it, so that like, okay, here's what people saw, here's what this person did, and if they don't tap into it, then it's like, all right, you're suspicious, and like they've used it to catch criminals and stuff like that. The book starts out with where you're following a nag, which is a serpent snake a character, working with Grand Harvin, I believe his name was. I don't actually remember his name. No, that's his race, and he's working with someone who is basically a mushroom person, and they are tapping into Maya to figure out a way to cause a riot on a specific day in order to kill a specific person who's going to be in this town on that day, because in this world you as a person can ascend into divinity anytime divinity decides to basically retire or die off. And it's called the Maya Trials, and so this everyone is meeting up in this single town to sign up for the Maya Trials. They want to kill the front runner named Tarkash. So the first couple of chapters you are following Karkotak as he is trying to figure out a way to do this, ends up tapping very deeply into the Maya tree to figure out the exact things that are needed to be done, which basically starts with the murder of a little girl. And he knows that it's all supposed to be like this because of certain little things that shouldn't be there based on just the environment, like a seed from a tree that's miles and miles away being down on the ground, and the girl being in this one specific spot. And as it cuts out from that chapter, it goes and it shows you a kid named Yache, who it's starting to explain like this seed is coming from this tree system, from this place, and it flew and it could fling and it could go here and ride the winds, and that's how it could get here. However, this seed bumps into a child named Yache, and bumps into a young adult named Yache, and never reaches its course. Because Yache has been told his whole life that he has an illness and he cannot tap into the Maya tree. It will cause him pain or something like that. I'm not entirely sure how they explain it to him. I can't fully remember. I've read this book over the course of 2 months.
Well,
So
I mean,
some
don't spoil
stuff,
the whole thing either. It's not even out.
yeah. No, it's not even out yet. But like it is explained to him that he can't tap into the Maya tree, so it can't account for him. So the Maya thought that this seed was going to be there, but it's not there because it bumps into him, which it can't account for. And it was very good. The amount of time it took me to read is no like negative on the book itself. That was just me not being able to find time to read, or feeling sick and whatnot, and not having the energy to read throughout the time that I started reading it. It has nothing to do with the book being bad or poorly written or anything like that.
2 months is actually pretty quick for you.
I mean, I've gotten books done faster. I've gotten
I'm
books
kidding.
done much faster, but like, yeah, it was a bit of a struggle over the past 2 months because I've been pretty much feeling sick every other week for the past 2-3 months. Might have been my medicine that I've been on. Might have been a side effect of the medicine I've been on. They lowered my dosage, so we'll see if that helps. Or keeps me from feeling that sick feeling, because it would take me out. But yeah, so like I had been trying to get through it. I very much enjoy it. The book, again, like Cobb said, it's not even out yet. I believe the official release is now scheduled for June of this year, like to be sent out. It was kickstarted. So books are in production at the moment.
I
But
think
it
it was
should be,
August or something like that, right?
yeah, it's between June and August. It might be July. I looked at it the other day. I have to look into it some more. The audiobook, it was getting close to being done. However, Hugo Weaving of all people needed time off for whatever reason. I mean, from what I hear, he sucks to work with. So like,
Really?
not surprised. Yeah, that's part of the reason why he's not Red Hood in Infinity War or in Endgame, or not Red Hood. What's his name? Uh, fucking red faced dude from Captain America.
Red Skull.
Red Skull. Yeah.
So it
From
looks
what I
like
hear, he kind
August
of sucks to work
25th
with.
is when it's scheduled.
Yeah. So August 25th. So I got a pre-release copy because I believe I met Zane. I don't know if I met Anad. It was back at PAX. I was just walking out of PAX. Their booth caught my eye as I was walking out on Sunday, and they saw that I had the content creator badge. We got to talking and talking back and forth, and they were just very nice people. Like I said, they're from India. It was really hard for them to get their own booth, which is what they wanted. However, they were part of the Forever Stoked complex of booths that they get.
Oh, that's cool.
And they were able to group up with them and get some time there. And like they just this is based off of games that they make, and I think it's like an RPG series that they have as well. And it was really cool. They have a board game called The Trials of Maya. Um, I think I've seen that it's out, or it should be out, or it's kickstarting. I can't be into. I was looking it up, looking into it, and it's inconclusive. Like Board Game Geek says it's out, but when I look up Trials of Maya, like their website is just say like signing up for the newsletter for it. So like I don't really know. But it's like a MOBA style game based off of this book and based off of the world of Maya that they created. And like it's a very very good read. Some of the things that I find interesting and like kind of made it a little hard to read at times were the very beginning of the book. It explains that the language used in this book is not based off of like Sanskrit or anything, but it is based off of the language of the planet of Ne and has been translated to English. And so some words can't be translated properly into English, and their closest approximation are words in Sanskrit and such. And so if there's something that can't be translated properly into English, that it marks it with, and you can go into the appendix and find that, and it can give you a better approximation of what it could mean or what it is. It was cool, but at the same time, someone like me who like I lose my spot very easily even when I don't flip a page. To have to jump to the back of the book to find out I ended up not even worrying about it. But like it was a cool idea. It's a neat thing that they did, but I was just like I'm just going to take context clues, and sometimes the context clues didn't really help, and it was just like, all right, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean sometimes
But
that's just what you have to do with books.
yeah, like at one point they were talking about they used the term Annapurna, which I was just like, I'm just gonna keep reading Annapurna, and looking at the back of the book, it's the title for the great Divya of food. So it's the title of the goddess of food, god or goddess of food. I'm like,
Oh,
okay, that's cool to know. You could have just said Annapurna or the Divya of food. Blah 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 blah. It's just so like I don't. But again, this is a pre-release copy. They might have edited it differently. I'm not entirely sure
true.
how the final book is going to be. Again, this is first of three. So like for me, the wrap up there wasn't really much. This is basically like it's set a lot of scenarios up, but it's all still wide fucking open right now because it is one of three. And so like they have a lot of world building in this and a lot of learning about the world, learning about the main character Yache, learning about Tarkash, learning about Karkotak and like the history of this world, but it's just like nothing gets finalized, nothing gets settled. Like we don't even enter the Maya trials yet by the end of the book. They're just pretty much signed up for them at that point. So it's
Oh
like,
wow.
okay, like, yeah, like there's still a lot more to come from. And so like I'm going to keep my eye out for it. if I see them at PAX next year, I'm gonna talk to them and let them know what I thought. I'm gonna make a vlog about this for this weekend and just get a little bit more information out and better. I'm probably gonna like outline a better write up for this. Um, but yeah, it was a very good book. My biggest complaint about this book though is, and Cobb, you'll see this when I bring it to you next week. The first, the front cover, it's soft. It's a soft back cover, but the front cover is the holographic, like where if you move it, it changes.
Okay.
You can't fold that.
Oh, why would you want to
So,
fold it?
well, just like you know how when you have a book open, it's kind of like folded a little bit, not like bent.
What sort of a
That
monster are you?
No, like you don't. I'm not saying like I'm not turning it all the way around, but it's like you don't hold a book directly flat. Like even when a book is opened halfway, it still is like a little bent a little bit. It is a little curved the way you hold a book. Well, this one page can't be curved, and it's a little bit. It's a thicker piece of like cardboard, sturdy cardboard, so it made it harder to just hold on to. Is really what it was, and like it made it a little bit more uncomfortable to hold on to.
That's a weird complaint, but I'll see what you mean when
You'll
next
you'll
week.
you'll see what I mean. It's just you'll understand. You'll understand when you see it when you when I bring you the book. But yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it very very much. And my next book, I actually wanted to start reading it on a Monday, but I didn't get it. But I've just gotten distracted. Is the Sea of Thieves: Heart of Fire, which is the second novel of the Sea of Thieves books. I want to try to get that started. I might get it started today or tomorrow. Well, probably not
Nice.
today, and
They're
probably
fairly
not
short.
tomorrow. I mean, yeah, they're page length wise, probably a page wise, probably about the same. No, actually, way less. Oh, I didn't even realize it was way less. So yeah, definitely on the shorter end in general. Only about 300 pages, but even on top of that, 311 pages, but on top of that, the words are bigger. So like it does account for like word count in this book between Sea Takes Root and um Sea of Thieves is just it's a big difference.
You said it's Heart of Fire.
Heart of Fire. So Sea Takes Root had 356 pages. This Heart of Fire has a 311. But like it is, and it's about the same height as the book, but it's just 50 more pages bigger, and just the words are slightly bigger. It seems. So the
Is
word
that the
count's gonna be
second book in a series?
not necessarily a series, but it's the second novel that was released for Sea of Thieves.
Oh, I just looked it up on Amazon and it shows Athena's Fortune first, and
Yeah.
then this book second.
So Athena's Fortune is the founding of the Sea of Thieves. So the way these books go, at least in Athena's Fortune, and I know kind of sort of in Heart of Fire, is it follows two different crews. So in Athena's Fortune, it follows the crew that founded the Sea of Thieves and them setting it up, and eventually the captain of that ship becoming who's now known as the Pirate Lord, and then the other crew was a crew from like decades past after the founding, like just as like I guess the best approximation is when Sea of Thieves started, basically. Um, and setting up the world and how it goes, and like the book explains how you can die in the video game and not be dead.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, like it straight up explains like death is just a part of the cycle of the Sea of Thieves, and then like in the game when you die you get brought to the ferryman who eventually opens the doors and you can come back out, and they explain that in the Athena's Fortune. It's like, yeah, they'll be back. It just depends on how long the ferryman decides to keep them.
Yeah,
Stuff
I
like
didn't.
that
I will say it's kind of cool. The author is actually he's a
is
developer for Rare. Like
yeah
he worked
he
on
does
the actual game story.
he works on the game's story and lore. Yeah. So James Alcock.
Chris
Uh,
Alcock.
Chris Alcock. Yeah. He works on the story and lore. It is official canon. So this book it follows a crew that is working for I can't remember his name right now. I can't think of his name right now. But like the basically the bad guy of Sea of Thieves. and then another crew, which I don't know, and I don't know the time difference. I don't know if it's different times, if it's the same time sailing on the same seas. I don't know. I haven't read it yet, but yeah, that's probably going to be my next book. I've also been considering rereading the Woodbury books, the Walking Dead Woodbury books, because there's a couple that I have not read, and they all go in like a sequence. So like I kind of want to reread them since it's been a while,
Sure.
but that's down the line. I have a bunch of other books I want to read first.
Yeah, I did just want to double check. I did. You had mentioned the Sea of Thieves book like last year when you were trying to get into reading more, and I
Yeah.
did try it, and I think I read like the first like chapter or two and just couldn't get into it.
hmm
But like also like I don't play the game, like so like a lot of the world just doesn't like click for me.
Yeah, you don't know a lot of the, but like this book, or at least Athena's Fortune, if that was the one you were reading.
No, I
Um,
it was this Heart of Fire one.
yeah, like that is this one. Like it's more of an established Sea of Thieves thing, and yeah, so it would make sense if you don't know who Flameheart is, and that's who the villain is, Flameheart. If you don't like know who Flameheart is or anything like that, then it'll make sense that you're just like kind of lost in it.
Yeah, and it just like it was one of those things where like it nothing about it was clicking, so I'm like, okay, this probably just isn't for me.
Yeah,
It's kind of like somebody on your Discord had mentioned like Dungeon Crawler Carl, and that book is that series is so fucking popular right now, and I
yeah,
just can't stand it.
that's
Not that it's
that.
popular, like the book itself,
Yeah.
I hate it.
I will say Dungeon Crawler Carl is such a fucking tongue twister as well. I have the same problem saying it as you did all the time. I want to check it out. I hear a lot of good about it. Uh but I just yeah, it's down the
It,
line.
it is a series, or so I think the thing that will probably like not like limit you, but maybe like keep you pushing it off is right now it's 8 books. It's not done yet. Every book gets longer. The most recent book is like legitimately like I think it's like 800 pages.
That's a lot.
Like the first book is fairly short. It's like I think it's right in the same realm as like these other two that you were reading, like in the 300-ish pages.
hmm
But they just get longer and longer and longer.
Yeah.
And it's one of those like it is like I hate the lit RPG stuff. It doesn't fucking work for me 99% of the time.
hmm
Um every once in a while a book does it in a way where like it's not offensive. Like it works for like the story they're telling. Um
Yeah.
Carl's unfortunately the one where like the plot is actually kind of interesting, but every like time the plot gets good, they have like 15 pages where they're making stupid fucking fart jokes about D&D stats, and I lose all fucking interest
hmm
because it's a lot of that. It's like every time they like kill a thing, they get level ups and they get loot boxes and shit, and it like stalls the story for me in a way where
Yeah.
like I then have to get back into the story.
hmm
But people love it, and like the audiobooks are apparently actually really good. Eventually, Patrick Warburton from like Seinfeld and The Tick,
Yeah.
he ends up voicing a character later on in it.
hmm
'Cause a lot of people like early on were basically comparing Carl, the main character, to like if this was live action 20 years ago, he would be the guy playing Carl.
That makes sense. I get that.
Or maybe even longer ago than that, 30 years ago, he would be the guy playing Carl.
Yeah.
So yeah, they got him to voice a character at a certain point.
Nice.
But I do think you would end up enjoying like at least like the first book, until it got like too long for you to like be able to like reasonably keep up with.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too worried about book length at the moment, but like it will become a limiting factor to like the idea of how many books I want to aim to read at one point or another, because like if I do end up sitting there and finding like 1,000-page book, I'm gonna be like, well, this is gonna count as 2 books.
And like not only that, but you figure like a book like a series like Carl, it's up to 8 books. I just looked. The 8th book comes out next month.
hmm
It is. Do they have the pages on here? No, that's the audiobook. That's not helpful. Okay, so book 8 is going to be 766 pages.
hmm
Book 5 is 732 pages.
Yeah.
So like they get long, whereas like book 1 is only 446 pages.
Yeah.
Um, and like, you know, like by the time you get to it, it's what, 10, 12 books, something like that. Like that's a big commitment when you know every book is just going to get longer. Cause then you're kind of like setting yourself up. It's like, okay, cool. So this year I'm either reading all of these and only these, or I'm breaking this up and potentially not remembering what happened between them.
Yeah, I think if I were to do like when I was talking about doing the Woodbury series again, if I were to do it, it would be back and forth. I wouldn't do it all in one run. It would be the Rise of the Governor first, and then it would be something else, and then it would be Road to Woodbury, and something else, and Fall of Governor Part 1, and then something else. Maybe like Fall of Governor Part 1 and 2 would be back to back, but then like it would be something else, and then the next book. Like I wouldn't do them all back to back to back, just because you've seen me do that with video games, and I've lost interest in it. I would need to jump around. I would need different story and things like that. But yeah, it's like that's down the line. That's I let me get through the like handful of books I still have here that I want to read first, and then I'll figure out what the next book is going to be that I'm gonna have to read.
Nice.
Because I'm gonna have to buy it. But I have a couple of books I already own that I need to read first.
Always something. There's always something to read.
Always something.
But I think that'll probably be a show.
I think so too. I think so.
Good, because it's very hot in this room because we don't have our air on.
I don't either. It's very warm. But I'm in the downstairs living room.
Well, if you'd like to find more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can also help us out by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us there with your dollars, you can go to your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, rate us, review us, subscribe to us. All of those things help. We're also on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline or at one_quest on Instagram and Twitter. And our blue sky is at one-quest.com. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo, and you can always send us an email to social@one-quest.com. And Rich, what does your streaming look like?
Twitch.tv/b_walnuts for video game streaming, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. I'm currently in the middle of playing Lies of P. So if you want to see if my nose gets bigger or not, you should come hang out. Also, games like Sea of Thieves. I'm still working on platinuming Resident Evil 9. Haven't played that in a couple weeks because every Sunday I feel fucking sick and it's annoying. But yeah, just a bunch of different games that are playing. You know, the life of a variety streamer, playing a bunch of different games every week.
Nice.
So come hang out.
Cool. Well, with that, we will be back next week with something else to talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
See yas.